Hello and welcome to my brown room. I'm Kyle C. Sullivan, international man of mystery, in that I've been to England and I'm often confused. Monday is normally sketch day, but this time we're gonna do something a little bit different. You see, I run a sketch comedy channel in 2019 and I make less money than a disappointing number of 15-year-olds, so I'm about as qualified as anyone else listening this same advice to tell you how to become a YouTube sensation. Without further ado, let's get started with step 1. Do something else. Now, like me at all times, you might be feeling a little bit confused. Maybe you're thinking, hey, wait, I actually wanted to learn useful information. This feels like a trap. 1, if you didn't expect this to be a little bit facetious, hi, and welcome to the channel. 2, it's not a trap. I actually have a point. If you bear with me, I will explain myself. 3, it's still not going to be what you want. I spent a lot of time making YouTube videos, about 5 years, in fact, and then a few more on and off before that. And to be perfectly clear, I loved almost every single part of the experience. I've gotten to have some of my wildest dreams come true, in large part because I refused to do anything I didn't want to do, which must mean that I really didn't want to make money. But I think one of the most important things I learned is that happiness didn't come from any of the places I originally expected. It came from a lot of the small things that I used as consolation to keep myself going until I reached the big payoff. You know, the millions of subscribers, or the Beverly Hills dream house, or waking up one morning to find that all my favorite YouTubers have tweeted at me and said that, hey, even though we have no personal or professional connection whatsoever and we have our own lives and relationships, we now want to be your friends because you have the same arbitrary number of recurring viewers that we have. If you're wanting to become a YouTuber yourself, those are probably the kinds of things that are motivating you. They were what motivated me for like the first 3 years. But eventually I learned the lesson that I want to pass on to you, which is that no matter what form it takes, that big payoff is absolute crap. And the small things that you do along the way, those are the only reason that it's worth doing in the first place. The way I see it, there are 2 types of YouTube creators. There are people who use YouTube as a tool to achieve a goal they already had, and then there's the people whose goal it is to be YouTubers. And now that YouTube has figured out how to milk that second group for everything that it's worth, they have of course reconstructed their entire platform to cultivate as many YouTubers as possible. Which, as a weird side effect, has produced a massive amount of repetitive and surprisingly useless educational content on how to get started in this one very broad and undefined career path. Like, I remember looking up how to be a YouTuber videos in 2010, and there was nothing. Nobody would tell me. But now there's probably a column of videos on the exact same subject right next to this one, and whether they're made by YouTube or some hack like me, they're all gonna say the exact same thing. Use interesting thumbnails, make topical videos, have a consistent upload schedule, interact with your audience, and don't worry about quality because it doesn't actually matter. There you go. All the stuff you wanted in less than 10 seconds. What it means is that the only way to truly become successful on YouTube is to do the things that makes YouTube the most money. And you might be thinking, yeah, you baby-faced old man? That's just good business, and you're absolutely right. But if you're wanting to become a YouTuber, I bet it's not because you're passionate about helping Google grow its dragon-sized horde of revenue-generating preteens. It's for the big payoff! The money, the fame, the public backlash, the apology videos, and the eventual sexual assault allegations that will end your career in an explosion reminiscent of a dying star, fusing the base elements of your identity into even more money for Google. So what is the point? Well, back in my day, the point was to make some cool stuff. When YouTube was but a newborn file-sharing site, and flash portals like Newgrounds were the #1 source of disturbing and low-quality entertainment, because yeah, we are going back that far, you couldn't make money on the internet. And if you got famous, it was because you did something terrible. Probably to yourself. But the internet created an opportunity, one not really seen on such a large scale before. People could now share their creations with the world, without anything like requirements or standards getting in the way. Sure, file size and bandwidth were problems for a little while, but you could take the thing that was in your head, turn it into a piece of art, or at the very least a choppy flash cartoon, and then show it to everyone, without having to go anywhere near Hollywood, the reigning champion of money, fame, public backlash, and sexual assault allegations. This gave birth to a sort of prototype YouTuber called Internet Celebrities by me and maybe some other people. iCarly. Perhaps. What started as awkward teenagers animating blue clay in their childhood bedrooms eventually became one-person production studios and passionate groups of friends writing, acting, animating, practicing visual effects, and building their own websites and communities, all with low budgets, limited resources, innovative ideas, and above all, a desire to create and share those creations with as many people as possible. Now, I'm not gonna act like those people were inherently better or didn't have any flaws. Everybody wanted money back then too. But it was just a lot easier to focus on the immediate fruits of your labor when there wasn't any promise of a greater reward. Finding success online was an incredibly rare occurrence, and it might mean that you didn't have to spend a few years bringing people coffee and begging them to read your screenplay just to find an audience. And that possibility alone was enough to justify the effort. So, back to the original question, what do you actually want out of being a YouTuber? Is it to make money? If so, do something else. There are a lot of better options. People have been trying to figure out how to make money off of internet videos for the better part of a decade, and the ones who do aren't the ones making the videos. Maybe you just want to make easy money. You know, maybe you don't want to work that much. You just want to goof off with your friends and make a living off of that somehow. Guess what? Do something else. I recently calculated my own hours for the first time, and it turns out I make minimum wage at 60 hours a week. I wouldn't dare suggest that there aren't way worse ways to accomplish exactly the same thing. I'm very happy to be doing what I'm doing, but if you think you're going to put in minimal effort and become a millionaire, you will not. Look at my eyes. I am tired. All the time. Maybe you want to be famous, or if you're in denial about it, recognized. You may even have made some videos before, and you're familiar with the feeling of seeing the comments roll in and the view count tick up, and it can be really addicting. That's what keeps us going here. I'm not gonna lie, if you can find some non-awful, truly amazing people to like the thing that you're already doing anyway, that's gonna feel pretty good for a long time. Thanks, guys. The thing is, if that's your priority, then you're gonna eventually find yourself chasing that attention above all else. And you might not even notice when you stop liking the thing that made you happy in the first place, as you gotta keep those numbers up. It's the same weird 100% completion instinct that video games take advantage of all the time, except in this case, there is no finish line. It just keeps going. Forever. Maybe, despite everything I've just said, all those things still sound appealing to you. Maybe the YouTube glamour life is exactly what you think you need to be happy, and no amount of me telling you that you're wrong is gonna make you change your mind. And if that's the case, congratulations, you know what you want. Because that's the whole point. I'm not actually here to tell you the right way to do things. I'm just here to tell you to find the thing that you're passionate about, the thing that you would do in a heartbeat if money and other people's expectations weren't in the way. Whether it's filmmaking or hanging out with your friends or getting those views, it doesn't matter. Just take a moment, find out what you truly want, and then follow step 3. And yeah, I know saying that makes me sound like a privileged white millennial. But you know what? I am one. And you're watching a video on how to become a professional YouTuber, so I feel like this is the appropriate context. And no matter who you are or where you come from, I think there's one universal truth we can all relate to. You're gonna die. One day you will no longer exist, and you'll never get the chance to exist again. So maybe don't spend the time you have doing a bunch of things you don't like just because you're supposed to do them. If following YouTube's best practices means changing things that you like about your work, don't do it. If you really enjoy making videos with your friends, even though you don't make a lot of money or views off of them, keep doing it anyway. And if it turns out YouTube isn't really the thing that you want to do something else. In the words of the great philosopher Drew Carey, everything is made up and the points don't matter. You won't get everything that you want overnight, but if you make every decision with your goal in mind, you'll get a little bit closer every single time you do it. And that's the best part. It's common to feel a sense of longing when you see other established YouTubers, like you want what they have or to be part of their group right now. But the things that made them the way that they are things that develop over time. I used to really want to be a part of the Yogscast. I watched their videos every single day, and they always just looked like they were having so much fun. I wanted to pack my bags and join right in. I even applied a few times. But if I had jumped straight into that, straight into the big payoff, I would have missed out on so many things. Learning new special effects, figuring out how cameras worked, staying out late on hot Texas nights in a backlot, and then relaxing after a long day of work with the people that I love most in this world, knowing that we had made something great. Last year, we got to make a full TV show pilot, like with a crew and everything. But 20 years from now, I'm gonna remember those first 3 months of making videos in my parents' house. Anyway, it's because of that we're actually making some changes here at Door Monster. We've been on a weekly production schedule since we started, and while it's been a fantastic learning experience, we all kind of feel like that we've learned everything there is to learn. And the weekly requirements make it really hard to do anything else on the side, because one of the two things I'm worst at is multitasking. So we've decided to graduate to a project-based schedule instead. Basically, we'll be producing a whole bunch of sketches all at once, like a season of a TV show, and then posting those up once a week while we move on to another project. The only reason we've been able to do anything bigger than filming inside my parents' house is because because you guys have made it possible. Dormonster is largely fan-funded, and honestly, there are few things I'm proud of more than the community that we have somehow attracted. If you're interested in helping out, which would be especially helpful during our transition to our new production schedule, then go check out our Patreon. You can get some fun rewards like access to our Discord and exclusive bi-weekly podcasts, and eventually early access to all of our sketches, because we're going to be filming them all at once now. In the last year and a half, we've more than doubled our subscriber base, and our expenses have gone up because our production value has increased pretty drastically. But the amount that we get on Patreon has actually stayed exactly the same, because the second thing I'm worst at is marketing myself. Also, if you're not a fan of Patreon, we have an identical system set up on Dormonster.tv now that uses Stripe, the same thing that Patreon uses, and you still get all the same rewards. Thank you so much for watching, and if you are starting your own YouTube channel, I hope that this helped in some philosophical kind of way. If you were expecting a sketch today, hopefully this was still entertaining, and next week you should get 2 as long as we and Squire can synchronize our video releases properly, so be sure to let them know that you want to see the Red Dead Redemption video next Monday. Until then, do whatever you want. Good luck. Ta-da!